I'm Corbett Wall with USDA Livestock and Grain Market News, here with your weekly feeder and stocker cattle market summary for the week ending June the 7th, where compared to 2 weeks ago, because we really didn't have enough movement during that Memorial Day week to give a good test, but compared to 2 weeks ago, a pretty good test this week of yearling feeders sold $2 to $5 higher. Your receipts were dominated by big yearlings weighing over 800 pounds as they continue to make their way into the big regional auction markets around the country. A much lighter test of calves selling unevenly steady to $3 higher, and the only really good test of those continues to be down in the southeast. And demand is really fairly light on those bigger calves weighing over 500 pounds. Any little peewee calves or lightweight calves weighing under 4.5 are being picked up where they're offered just pretty readily. But your best demand by far was for the same cattle that were being offered in the biggest numbers, and that's those big heavy yearlings weighing over 800 pounds, where demand was pretty good both in the northern plains and southern plains and all over the country for those big yearlings. And we're not sure whether that higher prices is due to the start of a summer run-up, as we're going to see getting closer into fall, as we do see delivery for those big yearlings late in the summer and into fall at a pretty good premium to current prices, just like the board is. We don't know if this is the start of a run-up to those, or maybe just backfilling some orders that didn't get filled last week due to light marketing, but they were definitely higher, especially in the auctions this week. But you had light receipts are coming. Everybody knows that. So maybe your order buyers were just a little more aggressive this week, knowing it's going to be hard to fill those orders in the next probably 6 weeks. It's not going to take very many cattle to draw a crowd, because all your sales in the northern plains are running on a summer schedule now. Some of them just having one sale a month. Ogallala had a big sale this week, 4,800 head. First sale they've had since the middle of May, and they're not expecting another one for a whole month. So, but they did have 4,800 this week, and a good sale. Had 2 loads of fancy steers, weighed 639 at 163.50. Had a load of fancy steers weighed 708 at 154. Pretty good market, but we're just not seeing sales running very regular right now. And already a year-to-date nationwide auction receipts are running 8% behind last year, which is going to fall a whole lot more because in the middle of last year we started seeing a lot of those drought sales. But we're running 14% behind on year-to-date auction receipts in the 5-year average. So, and we're knowing that our runs are light, the availability is light, and now we're starting to see folks keep back a few more heifers. As this week we saw our nationwide auction receipts have only 40% heifers, feeder heifers this week, and that shows that they're starting to keep a few of those back, because that's one of the lightest percentages we've seen in recent memory, especially for this time of year. But we got wheat harvest coming up. Some of your auctions like Salina, Kansas are going to be shut down for wheat harvest. And our corn, everybody's looking at the corn, kind of seeing what it's going to do. We probably got most all the corn we're going to get in. We're still running 7 or 8% behind right now of what they thought projected acres are going to be. All the analysts are wondering what they're going to do with that less than 10% acreage that they haven't planted. Are they going to end up planting it in corn? Are they going to plant it in beans? Is it not going to be planted at all? And where those acres are at, if it's in high production areas or not. For the most part, we've got a good start on a good corn crop, and just as we get closer to fall and seeing that corn crop develop, we're going to see if we're going to have any feed cost relief or whether we're not, and your feeder cattle market is going to depend on that going right through. We've had good rains. Pretty much we saw some more rains in Kansas, moving more towards western Kansas. Prior to this past week, the whole eastern half of Kansas is wet. Well, we moved that just a tick further west, so we did get a bigger part of western Kansas into some moisture, which helped some of those big ranchers out. And But Oklahoma, for the most part, except for the Oklahoma Panhandle, has had a lot of good moisture. The bad part is a lot of it came along with some deadly tornadoes, and it's that bad as that Moore, Oklahoma tornado was. The one that come through El Reno was even bigger. Did a lot of destruction just last Friday night, and included in that, it wiped out the OKC West El Reno livestock market, which is one of the nation's largest feeder cattle markets. So it's just complete destruction there. Basically just one wall standing of the auction facility itself. A lot of the pens tore up too. The good thing is they didn't have many cattle on hand and had just minor losses of those. But it's going to take a long while before they get back up and going regular. They are hoping to have some type of a tent or makeshift facility set up within a month or so to start selling cattle. Till then, Woodward, Oklahoma has offered to sell their customers cattle and send the commissions to OKC West. So they're quite a ways to the west of OKC West, but still that's a pretty nice gesture right there. Fat cattle was slow to develop this week as your board's around $1.20, and we've been on a $24, $25 cash market. So it's just quite a bit of struggle there as couldn't get the packers and the feedlots together. Late Friday here, they are advertising a few light sales at $122, which would be another $2 lower. So that is not fully developed as of yet. Probably will be by the time you see this. The regional weighted averages this week in the north central states, 8 to 900 pound steer cost you $131.96 compared to $131.60 last week and $152.50 a year ago. Down in the south central states, 7 to 800 pound steer cost you $134.20 compared to $133.10 last week and $153.91 a year ago. Down in the southeastern part of the country, 5 to 6 weight steers, $139.99 this week compared to $139.65 last week and $162.71 a year ago this week. That wraps up your feeder summary for this week. Check out our website for more market information at marketnews.usda.gov. And from the Regional Market News Office in St. Joe, Missouri, we'll talk to you next week.